A fjord world with little civilization and a lot of wilderness. If you want to survive here, you'll have to come up with something. The spirit of Alaska, the Native Americans want to preserve it. A land of treasure and adventurers.
Then we're in the money!
Gigantic fjords, endless forests and glaciers. The southeast of Alaska is also called the last frontier of the USA. Ice masses and volcanoes formed this widely ramified water landscape with its thousands of islands. In the very north of the fjord world, not far from the capital Juneau, Ray Russo has starting difficulties this morning.
All right.
With a self-built special raft and all kinds of equipment from the hardware store, he goes looking for gold. Gold that his predecessors overlooked in the 19th century.
Anybody that really gets into this hobby learns about gold fever real fast. All my life I was doing the model airplanes, and I just got tired of it after 40 years of being a model airplaner. And my brother was up in Haines, Alaska, and on a big gold mine. And I went up there to give him a birthday present. He said, let's go gold panning. And I found a nugget about as big as my pinky fingernail. And I've spent $8,000 building a dredge trying to get it now.
Ray delved into old maps to find out where the big gold deposits used to be. He's certain this sandbank consists of rock remnants that were broken out of the old mine during the Great Gold Rush.
Take some of the top off, and you're starting to see the really dark brown. Start finding a little pocket.
For Ray, finding gold has more to do with brains than luck.
Now this is something I don't really show a lot of people because everybody and their brother would be right up here in this top part. But you know, everybody's always down here in the processed sand because it actually is a little higher value down there. But if you want to put the most in your pan at one time real quick, it's a cheat. It's a little secret. Now let's go look at some gold.
Alaska was once the land bridge between Asia and North America. After the last ice age around 10,000 years ago, the sea level rose and separated the two continents. $1.7 million square kilometers. Alaska is almost 5 times the size of Germany. The southeastern part is also called Panhandle. adventurers and indigenous peoples. For its inhabitants, the largest state in the USA is still the true Wild West. Seaplanes are both air taxis and cargo planes in Alaska. Michelle Maston came from Nebraska to the city of Ketchikan 35 years ago and got by with odd jobs. Today, she's the only woman far and wide who can fly a seaplane. Together with Jim, her co-pilot, she has a special mission: to spot shoals of fish.
Hey, Kurt, I just wanted to let you know that we have an elephant over in M12. An elephant in M12, so that might be worth looking into.
The elephant is a big swarm of salmon. Only Michelle and the captain know the code.
Well, fishermen are very secretive about where they go fishing because they don't want anyone else to know where they are, especially if the fishing's really good. So they don't want to get the word out. So airplanes are used to go and help them find where the fishing is good or not so good.
At low altitude, you will discover more fish.
I go so close that, the point is to try to scare them, especially if they're in the wheelhouse. You sneak up from behind them, and because their engine is running, because they're towing on the net, it's really loud in the boat. And you do a cross-quartering pass in front of the wheelhouse because they can't hear you coming. Just pilots, having fun.
From her first day in Alaska, Michelle knew that being a seaplane pilot is it. But on the way to the cockpit, there were starting difficulties.
It's not easy for anybody in the beginning. When you're a beginning pilot here, nobody wants to fly with you because you don't have any Alaska experience. So the only way to gain experience is to fly. So it's hard for everybody, both men and women. But it's especially hard for women, I think, because it's definitely a man's world in Alaska.
The next job.
This house right here below us on the right.
Southern Alaska, a paradise for dropouts. Once a month, Michelle stops by here.
Somebody told me that he was out of Rocky Road ice cream. Hey there.
Hey, Michelle.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How about you? All right. Now that looks like a good box. We were looking forward to that, Michelle. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You gonna have time for coffee? We just put the kettle on before we heard you.
In their former lives, Darlene and Floyd Miner earned a lot of money in the software industry and with stocks. They've been living in the wilderness for a quarter of a century. Darlene has a green thumb. Floyd goes fishing and hunting. But without Michelle's airlift, some amenities would be missing.
Toast. Oh, little home. And this is you guys', right?
That's our smoked salmon, yeah.
This is really good. Yeah, Floyd can carry the box up, and
Okay.
I'll take the ice
That's
cream.
good. Works for me.
Oh, watch your step. Things are going dormant pretty fast this year. But have you ever seen a potato plant?
Michelle has been supplying them for 20 years and has also been a rescuer in dire straits.
In the first couple of years here, she was worried about us, really worried about us, because this was bare land, and we hauled everything in here by boat and carried it up and built this. And Michelle's come out to me one time. I was sick in Mink Bay, and we called Coast Guard. Coast Guard was kind of sloughing me off, and I was very sick. And Michelle got the message, and she came out, and she sent somebody to pick up the mail because she didn't know how serious it was. But it was Michelle that came out and picked me up. Nobody's like this lady. I'm serious. I am serious, Michelle, and I miss you.
Oh, I miss you too, honey. Such a sweetheart.
Hey, thanks for the goodie.
next job arrives as a message. A fisherman needs a spare part for his diesel. On the Pacific coast in Sitka is the oldest Russian Orthodox church in North America. It was built when the region belonged to the Russian Empire. In 1867, the United States bought Alaska from the Tsar. $7.2 million. Peanuts for such a huge area, rich in raw materials. There is also no shortage of fish. Today, one of the largest fishing fleets in the USA lies here. A crew has ventured particularly far into the wild water landscape.
Why don't we make a jump in here? If that doesn't work out, we could always come back around and get this in here. Maybe come down through here.
Yeah, we'll find some somewhere.
Mika Trani and his father Larry are on the hunt for a very special Pacific inhabitant today, the sea cucumber.
You like to look for little indentations in the shoreline, and they tend to kind of school up in those areas. And you want to stay off the muddy bottoms. You know, like to get into the cobble bottoms. You'll find them on rocks. You'll find them on cliffs. I mean, they're pretty much just about anywhere you want to jump in on the inside waters.
There are around 1,200 species of sea cucumber worldwide, from 2 millimeters to 2 meters long. The echinoderms were considered worthless here until the delicacies traders came from Asia. Since then, exports have flourished. Mika and Larry have specialized in sea cucumbers.
Oh, I've been doing it for a long time. There's not much that makes me nervous anymore. Every once in a while, a sea lion will give you a little bit of a adrenaline rush, but they're just curious. So they hear you and just want to check out and see what you are.
Larry has been diving for 50 years, in every season. Because the diving suits always froze in the freezing Pacific Ocean back then, he had to make do with a little trick.
Kind of sounds gross, but it was kind of a survival thing. Because you drink a lot of hot chocolate, so you got to take a leak, and then you'd pee in your wetsuit to warm up. That was just what everybody did in those days. But when they came out with the dry suits, man, that changed everything.
Diving with the air hose is dangerous. It can tear if the current is too strong.
Well, it's as dangerous as you make it. And just don't do anything stupid. And always be aware of what's going on, use good equipment, follow proper procedures. So yeah, I feel very comfortable with them being in the water. As a father, the cucumber diving, the gooey duck diving, all that, you know, I just like being out there with the boys. That's what it's all about, not the money. They like the money, though.
Sea cucumber fishing is strictly regulated. From October onwards, they may be collected for a few weeks, and only from Monday at 8 o'clock until Tuesday at noon. From 1880 onwards, the Great Gold Fever broke out in Alaska. From all over the world, adventurers set out in search of the precious metal. Only few found the big nuggets. Most only found stones, and some even found death. Ray has a good feeling about this sandbank. There has always been fine gold dust in his samples.
That's why I'm here on this beach, and that's part of my research. He was asking me about what's luck and what's, you know, a lot of gold mining is luck. Gold mining is smart if you do your homework.
Ray is looking for millimeter-sized grains of gold that have mixed with the sand over all these decades. With his self-made vacuum cleaner, he rinses the sand over a special mat. The heavy, precious metal is supposed to get stuck in its grooves.
See when the bubbles are coming up? I kind of judge how my sand is doing by the color of these bubbles. If they're coming up and they're more white, it's not as good a gold. But when they come out real chocolatey brown color, those bubbles, then I'm doing a little bit better gold material. Then we're in the money! I try to look at least to get 7 to 10 grams, about a gram an hour. Maybe a little bit more than a gram an hour. You know, and gold prices right now, that's almost $40 to $50 an hour for standing out here enjoying the sunshine.
4 hours until the flood. Until then, Ray wants to wash several tons of sand. The few cities in southern Alaska are connected by the so-called Inside Passage. This waterway is an official U.S. highway. 800 kilometers through a fragile ecosystem that is increasingly threatened by deforestation, oil production, and climate change. The Tongass National Forest is one of the largest intact rainforests of the temperate climate zones. For more than 20 years, the clearing of the precious woods was forbidden. But in faraway Washington, D.C., they are thinking about allowing the clearing again. For centuries, indigenous peoples, the natives of Alaska, lived in harmony with the harsh nature. Sigurd Price is a Tsimshian. 10,000 tribal members still live in Alaska and Canada. Sigurd is also called Warrior of the Word by his clan. He wants to save the language of the Tsimshian from oblivion.
What are you seeing?
A jellyfish.
A small jellyfish.
His children shall understand nature through the language of their ancestors.
Jellyfish.
One of the things that made me want to learn the language was our word for ocean, lachshulda, means on the danger. You know, it's different when you're in a classroom reading a book and you see ocean, lachshulda, but when you see it or you've been on the water when it's rough, then you know, you internalize, this is our world.
As a school child, Sigurd was still punished when he spoke the dialect Simagiach. For a long time, he suffered from this. Only for 4 years, he has been dealing with his origins.
You don't remember the word?
This is a... What is it?
A leg.
Gun.
Exactly. My leg.
We were prohibited from speaking our language for a couple of generations, and so it's difficult for us to sit down and try to make those sounds and to use them every day. Our mission is to save our language. If we don't learn as much as we can and use it consistently, it could disappear off the face of the earth in a generation, and that we don't want that to happen.
Sigurd's hometown, Juneau, the only American capital that can only be reached by plane or ship. More than 1 million cruise ship tourists come every summer because of the Native American culture. Every Saturday, members of different tribes meet in the house of indigenous peoples to learn together. In Alaska, only 3 people still speak Shimalgyak, so Sigup recently founded a learning group.
What is this?
A spider.
The teacher is connected via internet from Canada.
I have my boards if anyone needs any tiles to show it.
Sigup has long struggled with his identity. With the help of language, he found his way back into life.
It's been really healing to me. I was maybe not in a good place emotionally about my place in the world. I didn't really have a sense of identity. But since I've started working with these folks, I feel a lot better about myself. My health is improving, my mental and my physical health is improving. I have a family, we consider each other family, and I was pretty much alone here in Juneau. And so it really has been a growing process for me. So it's been a source and impetus of growth for me.
Is it one person? Is it singular? Mm-hmm. Singular for inviting one person in the house.
The language of the Tsimshian is complex. Depending on the emphasis, a word can get a completely different meaning.
Would you like to come to my bathroom this afternoon?
That's what my mom taught.
Success with father and son Trani. The first cargo of sea cucumbers is on board. A maximum of 1 ton may be taken out of the water during the 2 fishing days.
This is the head, tail, and this is, see all those little bumps? Those are all tube feet, like on a starfish. And they're just all pulled in. And that's what he hangs onto the bottom with. So you can see the difference between the belly and the back. And what the Asians like best is real pronounced spines. The spines is a big thing. And so when you clean them, about 1.5 inches up, okay? You see, they've got guts in them right now.
Sea cucumbers have a sticky secretion inside. They are able to reproduce their organs several times in a life. This combination makes them masters of self-defense.
Yeah, their defense is to regurgitate their innards. When something's attacking them, that's pretty common for a lot of things to throw up. That distracts the prey, the predator, and then they get out of the way.
Oh, it was fine. Not very good picking. Not very many of them. A lot of swimming. But, yeah.
Larry and his son also dive for elephant trunk shells, starfish and crabs. But sea cucumbers get the most money, around $13 per kilogram. In Asia, the skins are considered a potency remedy and miracle medicine.
You know, and I have no way of disputing that. You know, if it works, it works. You know, they talk about all the different, there's rheumatism, rheumatoid arthritis that apparently is affected by the skins if you consume it and stuff. So I don't know if they put it in pill form or if they garnish their food with it or just what they do.
The meat has hardly been used so far. Larry wants to change that now. The sea cucumbers shall become a barbecue delicacy. But first, Larry has to get his friends from the food truck on board. In Asia, sea cucumbers are also considered the ginseng of the sea. In Sitka, on the other hand, they are not available in shops or restaurants.
Yeah, I think we're missing the boat. I would agree. You know, there's so many good things here to eat. You know, there's all these little scallops. There's cucumbers, obviously. Gooey duck. You know, you can't buy a gooey duck in town, but they're right out here. Yeah, it seems crazy, doesn't it?
The test.
I mean, it could be a special or something. You know, maybe not.
Problem is the season, the commercial season, doesn't coincide.
Yeah. It's a little crunchy, and it's got a real nice mild flavor. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
And
It's excellent. I don't know why people would
it's not
buy that stuff in
fishy.
the
It's
restaurant.
not. It's just very nice.
This has been the start. There are tens of thousands of glaciers in Alaska. 5% of the huge state is covered by ice. But for how much longer? Climate change also has an impact on the animal world. There is still plenty of salmon, but bears are increasingly coming to towns and settlements to search for food and garbage. This makes them a danger to humans, so they sometimes get shot. Rescued cubs are taken to Fortress of the Bear, the orphanage for bear cubs. Nine animals live in an abandoned paper mill. A gift from the city to Claire and Chris Turner, who run the station on donations. Full board for wild bears.
I got some apples today and some beef.
Chris went to the supermarkets. They donate food with expired expiration dates.
Hiding places for some of these figs.
The station team is busy day in, day out organizing food. An adult coastal brown bear eats about 40 kilos per day.
They really enjoy honey. Winnie the Pooh is real on this one. They do really enjoy honey. And then from the grocery stores, they really like artichokes and mangoes. That's a particular favorite. And then, as I'm sure everyone would imagine, it is also salmon. They really, really like salmon.
Claire is a biologist and researches the behavior of the bears.
I definitely think weather is a big factor that influences the bear's hibernation. Every season we see that here. So when we have milder winters, we see much more activity. The bears are more inclined to come out and move around and graze. I would not be surprised to find climate change having a big impact on how long bears are hibernating, if at all.
A small snack for in between, discarded fishing buoys, filled with dog food and strawberries.
your whole life is being out here. We come out here every single day. When we're at home, everything in our house is bear themed as well. Even our daughter's called Winnie, so we really had to go all out on that one. But when you get to work with animals like this that are so engaging and powerful, you do really build a good respect for them. We try and do social things. Sitka's a very nice town and do bits and pieces, but this really is our entire life is out here right now.
Chris got a call from the salmon rearing station in Sitka. Before the salmon return to the rivers to spawn in late summer, roe is taken here to ensure their survival. Today, however, the neighbors are donating a few kilos of fish to the bear orphanage, live food. Through this type of feeding, the team at the orphanage tries to train the young bears' hunting behavior, the only way the animals might one day be able to return to the wild. But the law still prohibits the release of orphaned bears into the wild in Alaska. The American Wildlife Authority considers animals that are used to humans to be particularly dangerous. In other countries, however, such bears are released into the wild.
We truly believe that we can get the program started up here and we can get bears back in the wild of Alaska, and that's what keeps motivating us to come back and keep moving forward with pushing forward with Fortress of the Bear.
Michelle Maston on her way with the spare part for the fishing cutter. Her DHC-2 Beaver was built in 1959, and seaplane pilots all over the world swear by this pack horse of the skies.
Yeah, weather is definitely the biggest challenge. So sometimes you take some hunters out to a lake, let's say, and then a week later when they're due to be picked up, a storm comes in, and so you go out to pick them up and you can't get them out because it's too foggy where they are. And definitely had some times when I didn't even get home at all, where I had to sleep in the airplane. But I'm here to tell about it, so.
Also, the takeoff and landing conditions are not always ideal in South Alaska. Often only a narrow aisle remains.
Morning. Hey, good morning, LaDonna.
Good morning. Hey, what you got there? Oh, nice.
Groceries.
I think that's the parts you're looking
All
for.
right, great. Yes. Cool. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
The spare parts delivery costs the fishermen $1,500. That's not cheap, but better than not catching any fish for days. Before they call it a day, Michelle and Jim still have something to do. Hidden in the fjord world, they have sunk their crab baskets.
This is one of the great benefits. But the crab move around just like everything, so sometimes you get lucky and sometimes not. Sometimes you can come back and get 20, 30 crab, sometimes nothing. You're just a little too big, so I guess you're gonna be supper.
Back at the base, the hungry crew is waiting. The plane on dry land, crabs in the pot. For Michelle, it's the best job in the world.
There's a lady in the Guinness Book of World Records who's 96 years old. Maybe I can beat her record. Where'd you go, Kelly?
Augustana?
Where?
For Ray, the prospector, the most exciting moment is about to arrive. Now we'll see if he's not just collecting sand. The special mats are washed out.
Right there, look at there. Stuck right down in there.
Yeah.
That's all right.
The material has to be sieved ever finer and finer. For this purpose, Ray has a specially designed miniature version of his gold washing machine.
Oh, hell of a deal, Russ. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Over the past 4 years, Ray and his buddy Russ have found gold worth about $15,000.
This is the gold miner's problem. The more gold you get, the bigger equipment you get. So you spent all your money getting the gold, and then you spend more money to build bigger equipment to get more gold, and then you get the more gold, and then you buy more bigger equipment again.
Ray still pays his bills with his 9-to-5 job in the car repair shop. He only comes to dig for gold on weekends.
When I get closer to retirement, I would love to go out every day of the week. I'd love to go out every day of the week so long as the weather's not pushing me off the beach. I'd love to go out there and look for gold every day. I mean, there's enough out there to, maybe make $20,000 a year, and that's enough to make my house payment, or close to it.
I still got a lot of material in there. Look at that piece right there, Russ.
That's a picker.
Damn near for Juneau. A little bit chunkier stuff than we're normally used to seeing.
Let's go ahead and put this on the hog plate and dry it out and throw it on a scale and see what it looks like. Yep. See what we did. That looks really cool. Let's get that scale. Satisfactory? We're gonna be good enough. Looks like we got about 131.7 grains. Looks like maybe 4 grams out of the day instead of the 7 grams, but hey, we're smiling. We got a sunny day. We got cold beers. It's a happy day.
That's $356 a day, buddy. Right there, give me some fives. With the money, I can buy more beer.
That wasn't a full day.
It wasn't a full day, no, it wasn't too bad. Hot damn.
Seagup Price has to hurry. There's a day of action in town on climate change today. Demonstrations, workshops, and traditional dance. Some of the tribe members are running the demonstration. Seagup's group is hosting the dancing protest. Even their ancestors sang about the need to respect and preserve nature in their songs. Seagup only really understood this when he learned the tribal language.
It's important to pass them on to the kids that you're going to see with us, because when we're long gone, it'll be up to them to keep it going. And plus, it's just a heck of a lot of fun. We work hard at learning these songs. And sometimes, even if we don't have a lot of language, we learn the songs. And then as we learn the language, we start to realize what we're singing.
Really?
Since entrance with us.
Happy to have them.
Oh, yeah. So let's go over there and do your admiration.
Okay.
Sagop Diwayu, Kispatwada de Tegu, Simsiano de Haida de Skedeganis. We are the Juneau Agak Learners Group, and we're singing some of our songs in Agak, the Tsimshian language tonight. I'm glad you could join and hear us.
Seagup Price and his tribe members are determined to do whatever it takes to preserve the land of their ancestors, the wild fjord world of Alaska.